Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
We'll look at our geographic expression.
From our examination paper that was written in 2016. So the chart on my left has the questions, just a few questions that I picked out from the past paper. So we're looking at our first question there that reads, mention the source documents used to write up the following subsidiary books. So our subsidiary books there, the sales day book, returns inwards book, also known as sales returns. The answers. So the first thing is we have to pay attention to the question. It's saying mention source documents. So the key question there is source documents. We all know what source documents are. We go back to the stages in accounting. So the first stage is the source documents. So the source documents, these are the first we get prior to posting them to the subsidiary books, also known as the books of prime entry. So a source document can either be an invoice, a quotation, a debit note, a credit note, all those source documents. So these source documents takes us back to the subject of commerce. So for A, it says the sales day book. So what document is found under the sales day book? So the document that is found, the source document where we get the information that we record in that sales document is known as the duplicate invoice or invoice or a sales invoice. So this invoice or document is prepared by the seller. To the buyer, indicating details of an item to be bought. What sort of details are indicated? The price, quantity, and also the bills, etc. So that's the answer for question 1A. So the duplicate or the sales invoice, that's the answer that you put there as a source document that you use to record in the sales day book. We come to the returns. Returns inwards book, also known as sales returns. We all know what sales returns are. These are items that have been returned to us by our customers. By so saying, maybe they might have seen a fault in them, or maybe it was an item that they did not order, or maybe the quantity or the color of that item is not what they ordered, so they return it back. What source document is used? So the source document here is the credit note or the customer to the supplier, indicating that items that were got from you guys have been returned. Therefore, a credit is given out to the business from the supplier. So this is the answer that you have to place on that. So we said the credit note is issued by the business or the supplier, by the business or the customer to the supplier, indicating to them to say the goods have been returned. It's either they might have a fault, or it's not what they requested for, or maybe it's not the color that they wanted. Depending on their reason, it is issued out. So under the purchaser's day book, it is the purchaser's invoice or the original invoice. So the answer under this one is the purchaser's invoice or original. So the purchaser's invoice, original invoice, simply goes with the same as the sales invoice or the duplicate invoice. They carry the same definition and the same purpose or activity. So we move to our next question, which says the returns inwards book. Returns inwards. So the returns inwards book. So for the returns inwards book, mostly the one that is used there is original credit note or debit note. So the source document used here is the original credit or debit. It issues the suppliers. In this case, the customers, of course, are issuing the suppliers to say, these are not the items that we wanted, confirming to the business to say the goods have been returned back to your business. Therefore, a credit is given to the customer, or maybe there's a trade discount given at the end of that transaction or business that takes place. So our question 1 deals with source documents. It also takes us to our subject in commerce, where source documents are found. So we move to 2. From the following transactions, of how we record transactions in the accounting process. So now we come to the subsidiary books. Also known as books of prime entry. Examples of books found under the subsidiary books. We have the sales day book, sales returns, purchases day book, purchases returns, with Ubala's sales day book. So January. So the following on credit to M. Simoaba. 30 boxes of Boom at 200 per box. We move to the other stock. 20 boxes of Chic soap at 100 kwacha per box. Less trade discount. We've got 2 types of discounts. We have got cash discount and trade discount. But in this case, we are focusing on the trade discount. This is where a reduction in the cost of paying for your goods is done and given to the business from the supplier. That's what a trade discount, allowing the business of that customer to increase or have more profit. That's what a trade discount means. But a cash discount deals with the reduction in the money paid for the goods bought. So that's the difference. So in this case, we're dealing with trade discount, where the number of stock of goods was increased when purchasing them. So we have to now draw out a layout of how got the way it appears compared to the way So Bubala Balance sales day book as at January 2014. So the first column is a date column. The second column is the details. The third column is the invoice number. You either have the total title or the subtitle. So this is the subtitle column. Subtotal, then we have the total. Sorry. So there are some times when questions will come to you like this without an invoice. Day book has to appear, whether it's a sales, whether it's a purchases, or a journal. This is how they are to appear. Sorry, then you have invoice numbers column, but the reason why I have put subtotal and total is because of the discount there taking place, so that we're able to find the discounts before we put them to the total side. So we go to the 1st of January 2014. Remember, it's a sales day book for Bubala. So January 1st. So the following on credit to M. Simwava. In that column, we go to what kind of transaction took place. So Simwava bought 30 boxes of boom at 200 kwacha per box. So each box was costing 200 kwacha. So for us to know the total amount that was sold, we have to calculate 200 by 30 boxes. What do? We're just going to do multiplication. So times 6,000. So percent trade discount, the percentage over 100 times the total. The percentage over 100 times the total. So by 100 times 6,000. So 1,200 was the deduction. That was the trade discount that Simwava was given. What do? We are going to deduct the 1,200. We are going to deduct 1,200 from 600. Sorry, 6,000. So 6,000 minus 1,200. So 6,000 minus 1,200. So our answer is 4,800. On the same, that transaction was 6,400. We move to the 15th of January. It reads, 15th of January reads, sold goods on credit to Chabala. Stored goods on credit to Chabata worth 7,000 less 10% trade discount. So again, there's a discount there taking place. So sold goods of 7,000 to Chabata percent. What do? The same way we're finding the discounts. So 10, remember, the discount on the 15th has changed. It's not as the same as on the 1st. So on the 15th, it's 10% over 100 times the total amount, which is 7,000. 10 divided by 100 times, our answer is 700. So 7,000 minus 700. Our answer is 6,300. So that's the amount that we place in our total. 6,300. So we are done with the 15th question. So we move to the 28th of January. Movita bought goods on credit from Wubala worth 300,000 kwacha net. If you can read that question, it does not involve any discounts or whatsoever. So what do? We carry the transaction as it is, record it in the sales daybook. So January 28th, Movita of the value of 3,000. So we are done with our sales daybook. What do we do now? We find the total so that we understand Wubala's business and financial status. So we will add 6,400 plus 6,300 plus 3,000. Our total is giving us 15,700. And we are done with this question, and everything else is correct. So that's how we answer a sales day book of such transactions. So as you have seen, remember to always observe the discounts, how it comes out. You have seen the layout of a sales day book. The layout of a sales day book, has the date, details, invoice column, and amount column. Sometimes you might not have two columns. Sometimes, according to the way you want to show out your calculations, you can open the subtotal and the total column. And we are done for this question. So we move to our next question, which is question 3. Question 3 reads, mention any 2 types of the ledger. Question 3, it says mention any 2 types of the ledgers. So we now move, according to the stages, we now move to the ledger. So we need to understand first what ledgers are. So when you're answering a question, you first have to think through the question and say, what are ledgers? Once you understand what ledgers are, then you know what kind of ledgers this question wants. So ledgers are the main books of accounts. So ledgers are the main books of accounts. Some management or decision makers would take the calculations that are made in the ledgers as the final calculations. They would even use it to communicate to the people who need this information. That's why they are the main books of accounts. So as you are calculating your subsidiary books, after calculating all the books from the subsidiary books, then they're posted to the ledgers. So under the ledgers, we've got 3 types of ledgers. The first one is the sales ledger. Second one, purchases. ledger. Third one is the general ledger. So the question simply asks to say mention any two types of the ledgers. You can either mention the sales or the purchases or the ledger, or you can either mention the purchases or the general, any of the three, but the question has asked for two, so you can choose from any of the three which ledgers to place as the answer. Remember, the sales ledger deals and records with items only sold, and then the purchases records items that have been bought. The general ledger opens up the supplier's accounts and any other account that is needed to be opened to show the double entry system taking place. This is where the double entry system begins in the ledger's account. Remember the duality concept. It says only two accounts involved can be involved in the accounts equations. So these are the answers for question 3. We move to question 4. So question 4 says list two classes of ledger accounts, or maybe sometimes it can come as list two classes of accounts. If we see this question, we go back to the classification of accounts. We've got 3 classifications of accounts. The first one is the personal, the nominal, and then the real. There's a personal account, nominal account, real account. So we will look at these separately, but first our question reads list two classes of ledger accounts. So any of the two is the answer to that question. You can either indicate the personal account, you can either indicate the nominal account, you can either indicate the real account. So we are going to explain a little on the personal account. So personal accounts are actually individual accounts. Okay, so an individual account can be a personal account that someone either gets their salary from, or maybe a savings account. So that's what a personal account is. Examples of a personal account is somebody who has done a transaction with a certain business and has paid their money through their account. It might even appear as Abel's account. So this is a personal account. They normally appear in the customer, creditor, or debtor's name. So these are personal accounts. Then we move to nominal accounts. Nominal accounts, these are accounts that are expenses. Examples of a nominal account is a rent account, rent account, rates account, motor expenses account, electricity account. So these are expenses. These are accounts opened under the expense names. Whatever expense that you have in your life, it could be maybe you pay rent, maybe you have got motor insurance, you have to pay road tax, you've got rates accounts, ZRA, all those are nominal accounts. These are accounts that only record expense accounts. If you are buying a stationery in your organization, that is an expense. So stationery falls under the nominal accounts. Next time, we are going to look at the examples of these accounts. These are just a few. And then we come to the real accounts. So real accounts, every organization has got a specific account for their asset. Okay? So a real account can be furniture's account, machinery, vehicle, etc. So if you've got a fleet of vehicles in your organization, you will open accounts for those vehicles, okay? If you've got a Mitsubishi account, vehicle is going to be opened. If you've got an Isuzu account is going to be open. If you've got furniture, you have account for all your furnitures. Okay, you keep account for furnitures, more like maintenance, machinery, and the like. These are types of accounts found under the real account. Mostly assets of that business are the types of accounts found in the real account. So this is the 2016 past paper examination that was written, and these are a few questions that I have brought. So as we meet next time, we are going to discuss more on the other questions and even answer more questions. Just as we have done, every question that we look at, we have to expose it more, explain it in detail so that people have an understanding of these questions. So mostly we looked at the subsidiary books, which included sales day book, returns, purchases, and returns outwards. And then we looked at the sales day book, still under the subsidiary books. We calculated and opened up a sales day book for Bubala, made the calculations, observed the trade discounts, and came up with our final answers or totals. And then we came to the ledgers now, the third part in the accounting stages. We came to the ledgers, and then under the ledgers, we explained the three types of ledger accounts found. We said we have the sales ledger, we have the purchases ledger, we have the general ledger. And then under on the fourth question, we looked at the classes of accounts. So under the classes of accounts, we explained the personal, the nominal, and the real. So these are the questions that were to be answered in this question paper. Today we were doing revision. Next time we're going to finish off answering the 2016 examination paper and hopefully move to the next year examination paper. So with you today has been Tincha Mudenda, until we meet next time.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Hello everybody and welcome to our today's lesson this wonderful afternoon. My name is Agre Chibuna, your friend and teacher, taking you in this civic education subject. Today we are looking at the human rights. That is the center of our discussion this afternoon. This is grade 12 class. Thank you so much. Once again, welcome. Please follow me as I summarize this lesson. We are looking at the subtopic which is called the African Charter on Human Rights, okay? The African Charter on Human and People's Rights. All right, we're just going to look at some of the content that are in the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. All right, it will not take long. We'll just try to summarize this. We'll look at just the main features, okay, that are contained in the same charter. By the way, when you talk about the charter, we are simply talking about the document, all right? The document that contains the some of the necessary human rights, that stipulates a lot of issues to do with the protection of human rights. One thing that you need to remember is that here in Zambia, we've got the Human Rights Commission, all right? We'll try to, but today we're not talking about the Human Rights Commission as per in Zambia, but the African Charter. All right, Zambia belongs to Africa. Therefore, we're going to look at the African Charter. Just a few content that is in the same charter. Thank you so very much. Okay, so the African Charter on human rights. Okay, now we need to understand how, just a brief history, how this African Charter on human rights systems, how did it come about? How was it brought about? All right. We can start by saying, just a brief account of it is that this African Charter on Human Rights is a document, all right, that was prepared, all right. This document was prepared in Liberia. That was 1979. It was prepared during the meeting that was held, okay, at the Organization of African Unity. That is the OAU. All right, the OAU, which is now called just the African Unit. All right, African Unit. So long time ago, it used to be called the Organization of African Unit. Now, just simply called the African Unit. All right. So I was saying this organization, this charter was prepared way back in years 1979. That's when it was prepared at a meeting that was held in Liberia. Liberia is the capital city, Monrovia. That was the summit, okay, that was held that time, all right? I'm just going to just give you the brief account of how it started, then look at a few features pertaining to the same. All right, we are saying this is the document, okay, the African Charter on Human Rights, all right? So the content, there's just a few contents, okay, or say main, all right, I'll say the main features or content of it, the main content of the charter, all right? The main content of the charter is what we just try to look at here. One thing in brief, we said this is a document, all right? What is this charter? I'm bringing this, okay, document. I'm bringing this lesson because I've come across many examination papers which contain questions based on this lesson. So it's very important that you take keen interest and understand some of the few areas pertaining to the same. This is a document, okay? It's a document prepared, all right? It was prepared, okay, in 1979, all right? At a session, that was a session, it was a meeting, okay, among the African countries, member countries. A document prepared in 1979 at a session held, this session was a meeting which was held in Liberia, okay, Liberia capital, okay, Monrovia, all right, Monrovia. All right. During the organization, or just say OAU, during the OAU. All right. Okay. So document prepared 1979 at a session which was held in Liberia capital, Monrovia, during the OAU. This is the same meeting. All right. So it was prepared among the member countries, the African countries that belong to the same organization of African Unity. It's very important because this gives now some of the rules and the regulations that each and every state or government is supposed to carry out, or treasure the human rights, how they're supposed to protect the human rights in local countries, the respective countries. All right, now, having prepared this same document, which is called the Charter, all right, it was prepared, then it was now established. I'll try to explain what this simply means. The difference between when something is prepared, you just come up with it, maybe you put there, then it was established now, meaning that it was documented, okay? It was established, all right, in 1981. all right, under the same auspices, okay, under the same, meaning that under the same approval, okay, under the same auspices of, okay, established in 1981, all right. Now, this is not just the end there. After it was established in 1981, all right, I want you to follow these steps so that you don't miss out anything here. It was prepared 1979. These years are very important. They look at establishment of the same charter was done in 1981. Having been established in 1981, it was now brought into force, meaning that it was effective, meaning that it was now ready to be followed, ready to be used, ready to be implemented by the various African countries which are the member to the OAU, the Organization of African Unit, which is now African Union. All right, there we are. So it came into force, meaning that was now it's supposed to be practiced. Right, came into force in 1986. All right. This is just a brief account of the brief background of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. So it's very important to just have, in case, the section C. Remember in the civic education, the first part is about multiple choice. The second part there is about just a short answer writing. Then the third part, which is part C there, you are required to give an account of something, the essay form. So in case you are requested or you are told to give an account of the African Charter, the brief background, the history of the African Charter on Human Rights. This is basically what you are going to do there. These points are just written in brief form. You can add some spices there, add flesh to these points so that you develop these points. All right, now let's look at the main purpose. What is the main purpose of this same charter, this document? What is the significance of this? Let's just say the purpose. All right, the purpose. Remember, we are trying to summarize here. This is not all that is contained in this same document. The purpose of the charter. All right, what is the main purpose of the charter? All right, now, like you may know, the main purpose of coming up with these, talking about human rights, is nothing else. Nothing other than safeguarding human beings' rights. It's none other than safeguarding human beings' rights. In Zambia, we have got the institutions that promote human and people's rights, that promote our rights, you and my rights. So our rights are being protected each and every given day. Even if someone maybe tries to violate our rights, we have got institutions that can descend upon such individuals to make sure that the culprits, the perpetrators of the law, they are brought to book so that life keeps on going on well and we enjoy our living in the country. Now, the purpose of this same charter is to safeguard the rights of the individuals. And not just the certain individuals, but all different types of individuals. We've got various types of people from all walks of life. We've got people who are disabled, people who are living with, physical challenges. Okay, they are challenged physically. Okay, we talk about people who are lame. They may be able to see. Other people can't walk. Maybe they don't have, they are disadvantaged in short. I've got people who are poverty-stricken. All those are human beings, but they're supposed to be treated. They never chose to be in those conditions. Now, let me just try to give some of the examples. To safeguard rights, okay, of different individuals, regardless of the status in life. The purpose of this charter, okay, this was established, okay, it was established to safeguard the lives of different, not just the same people of the same class, no, the lives of different individuals among the member countries, okay, individuals across Africa, remember this is an African charter, okay, across Africa, all right? It was established such that it safeguards the lives of the different individuals across Africa, meaning that all the members of the country, all those countries who are part and parcel of this same charter, okay, are duty bound to do what? To follow, to safeguard the lives of their respective countries, members in those respective countries. In Zambia is a signatory to this same charter. So our lives, your lives, are equally protected. We are protected. We have got different organizations in each and every given country in Africa that are working with the same charter on the what? Of the human rights. All right. Now, some of these examples of these the individuals that I'm talking about here, okay? We are talking about the physically challenged, all right? The physically challenged. When I say physically challenged, I hope you understand this one, all right? The physically challenged, we're talking about the people who are disabled, the disability in any form, deaf, the mute, people can't just blind, those who can't walk, and or many more, all right? All right, then we've got also, apart from the physically challenged, we've got also the refugees. Because remember, a refugee is a person who flees away from the country of their origin to seek for the guidance or safety, in short. The refugees, okay, who else can we talk about here? We can talk about the orphans, all right, the infected, okay, the health ones. So talking about the orphans as well, infirmities, the diseases, right? Then I've got also the health, including the health ones, even those who are healthy, because this charter does not choose. It cuts across all races of humankind, all creed of humankind. So that is the main purpose, meaning that everybody is covered here, including you and I. We are covered here. You and me are covered in this same charter here, because we are saying if you are not healthy, then you are an orphan. You are infected. If you're not infected, then you may be an orphan. If you're not an orphan, you may be a refugee. If you're not a refugee, you must belong to any of these categories of individuals where other people belong, or maybe you are physically challenged. So basically, this is the main purpose of this charter here. All right, remember, like I said, we are writing this in just a brief. Okay, now let's look at the focus. All right, perhaps this focus is just bringing us to the end of our today's brief lesson. All right, what is the focus of this? Let's look at the focus. All right, what is it basically looking at? When we talk about the focus, we are looking at what this charter is basically looking at. All right, what is it exactly that is focusing on? The purpose is this, okay, to safeguard the lives of these classes of people. Then, what is the main focus on the same? All right, when we talk about the focus, we're talking about what it what it intends to do on the same. So the charter focuses on three categories. All right, categories of human rights. Questions in the exam paper, which ask questions about the categories of human rights. Okay, the categories of human rights. What are these categories of human rights? That is the main focus now, meaning that every person is covered under the same. Because of this focus, okay, because this charter focuses on the three categories, meaning that all the types of human rights, the three categories that we are going to look at here, I believe that in life, you may belong to any of these three or to all the three. Okay, it's either you belong to any of the three or all the three. All right, let's look at this one. Number one, what is the first category here which this charter is focusing on? Okay, it focuses on what we call the civil, okay, and the political rights. Okay, civil and political rights. Category number one. What does it entail? What are these civil and political? We're talking about civil, we're talking about just individual, like the way I am. civil, okay, civil person, all right, and political rights. This is grouped together. These two are just grouped together, meaning that when we talk about individual rights, you have got different kinds of rights that you as an individual, you and me, require. The rights that we need, okay, the rights that we have as individuals, okay. I've got the right, okay. I've got the right, to be free, okay. We're talking about the freedom, okay. Freedom. I just need to be free. I've got also the right to be treated equally, equal treatment, treated equally, okay, like others. Right, that is basically what we talk about on the civil. Okay, I should be free in my own country. I should be treated equally as others are treated. That is basically what it is talking about here. We're talking about political freedom here, or political rights here, meaning that each and every given person, okay, if they want to belong to a certain political party of their choice, they are free, they are at liberty. They have got that right to belong to that political party without any form of intimidation. Any form of threats. No one should threaten, no one should intimidate. Let each and every person, okay, belong to any form of political party. These are political rights, okay? Political. Let me just say voting, and just put it this way, okay? Under the same. I've got freedom to be treated, then you have to vote. Voting also belong there, because these are bound together, civil and political, right? Then from there I've got also, what else can we talk about? Maybe to participate. All right, participate. All right, participate in politics. In short, politics. All right, there we go. Okay, this is basically what it talks about here. The main focus of the African Charter. One, it focuses on the civil and political rights across the country. Whatever you see that is not going on well, meaning that the leaders, our government leaders in all various countries, if they do not follow some of the regulations that are given, meaning that they just compromise. Number two, okay, the African Charter on Human and People's Rights is focusing on remember we are talking about three categories of human rights. So I've got economic, all right, economic, social, and culture. I want you to understand this one. These are the three categories of cultural rights. Economic, social, and cultural rights. This is category number two. Economic, social, and cultural rights. Now, this is another important aspect under this same focus, all right, where the African Charter is based. When we talk about economic here, we're talking about every person needs money. Okay, let's say maybe work. You have got the right to work, okay? You have got the right to work. You finish your education, you go to be trained, get trained. After getting trained, you need to be employed. So you need that one. After that one, make money, all right? You're working, make money. These are economic benefits, all right? These are economic benefits. What else? Maybe food, all right? Let me just say food. What else do you need there? Okay. They're just different, a lot of them. All those basic rights that you need. Economic, social, all those. Okay. That is under economic aspect, okay? Then over the social. The social here we can discuss things to do with you need school is one of them, okay? Social amenities. We have got also clinics. Okay, let me just say, let me put it this way. All right, let me say education. Maybe school will be quite general. Okay, education is your right, it's your social right, okay? You need to also belong to school. You need to go to school, be taken to school, okay? Or you need also these social aspects, amenities. We've got medical, right? Medical. You should be given medical attention, etc., and many more. Now, when we talk about cultural aspects of focus where the African Charter is based, it is just talking about every person should be given freedom, okay, to enjoy the practices of their cultural background. Every individual is free. Zambia is rich in cultural diversity. Okay, it has got different cultural diversity, Zambia. So we need people. We have people coming from different backgrounds across the country. Okay, others are coming from Southern Province. Northern Province, Western Province. We come along with different traditions based on where we come from, based on what we practice, where we come from. Therefore, every person, when they come together, they should be free to, showcase what they practice, where they come from. So it shouldn't be something that is, stopped. No one should stop another person from doing what they do. I like, there are a lot of activities that are being aired on ZNBC, Zambian National Broadcasting Corporation, where each tribe is given the time or the day to showcase what they practice in different localities. There are 7 local languages. All right, that's very important. So talking about traditional and cultural practices. Cultural norms, okay? Cultural norms, in short. So these are the ones, right? So traditional and cultural norms. This is basically what it is talking about. When we talk about economic and social and cultural practices, we talked about civil and political rights. Then the last one in our discussion this afternoon. Let's look at the last one, which is called, let me just do this so that I bring this one back here. Right, the last one in our discussion this afternoon, we are looking at the third aspect, or the third in focus. Focuses on 3 categories of human rights. The third category here, we're talking about we've got the civil, political, economic, social. Now we've got what we call the group. All right, or let me just put it this way. I put it this way. The collective. All right, the collective rights, which are also known as the third generation rights. The third generation. If the exam brings such a question to say, what is the third, which of the following is the third generation right? It's just the collective or group rights. Now, this is the kind of right, or these are rights which are enjoyed by a group of people. Okay? Group of people who belong to the same class. We have got different groupings. Social groups. These are social groups. We have got teachers of the same class. We have got nurses, same class. We have got soldiers, same class. We have police, and all those different classes, different social groupings. Those are what we're talking about. So let the people enjoy the freedoms. Let them be given, should be given, okay? Should be given liberty, okay, in their social setup. Okay, they should be given freedom in their social setup, all right, to enjoy their freedom. This is what we call the collective, meaning coming from the word collection, all right? If students of English, we say collective nouns, meaning that naming things as a group. But this is not English here. This is civic education, talking about the collective rights, which are also known as the third generation rights, which talk about it should be given liberty in their social setup. This is what basically it means here. So we've been looking at the 3 categories which the African Charter on Human Rights focuses on. All right. Thank you so very much. This has been our discussion for this afternoon. Now, on the same here, just want to remind you to say we have been looking at the human rights is the main topic, okay? Then the African Charter on Human Rights has been our subtopic, okay? We discussed the things to do, some of the features in brief, in summary, where the features which are contained in the African Charter on Human Rights. By God's grace, in the next meeting, we may look at now the African Commission, okay, on Human and People's Rights. African Commission, this is African Charter on Human and People's Rights, ACHPR. Now, next time we're going to look at African Commission, okay, on Human and People's Rights, ACHPR. That is African Commission. Okay, this is Charter. This is Commission. All right. Commission is a body. Charter is a document. That's what we're going to look at last time. Thank you so very, very much. that you could find time to join me in this wonderful lesson. Please take advantage of this period that we have in this GMF e-learning program. It's very helpful, it's very educative, it's very important because we are not going a tough time, especially this time when COVID is is at its peak. Please keep yourselves safe, mask up every time. Thank you so very much. God bless you. See you next time.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Education grade 12, which is 2046, and today we'll look at Christian attitude to money and positions. Christian attitude to money and positions. There are different attitudes that Christians have towards money and positions. So first we'll look at money. What are some of the attitudes that we have towards money? Those who are rich, those who have got a lot of money. What are some of the attitudes? So the first attitude that we look at is save monthly for rainy day. Save monthly for rainy day. That is one of the attitudes that Christians have towards money. What do we mean by save monthly for a rainy day? In case, for example, I'll say someone has been working for 20 years and then the job ends. After 20 years, the job ends. How is that person going to survive? So they'll save the money for a rainy day in case there is a circumstance that comes in their lives. So instead of them struggling in life or maybe failing to pay school fees for their children, they'll save for a rainy day. That is one of the attitudes that Christians have. The second attitude we look at, use it wisely by investing it. How do Christians invest their money? Most of the time they'll have businesses. Maybe you create a business where you invest your money in case maybe the job ends or maybe you die before your children have finished school. At least the same money that you save in your business, at least to be able to help your family. So instead of wasting it, they'll save it wisely by investing in a business. Then what is another attitude that Christians have? Use it on family basic needs. When we say family basic needs, we are looking at school fees, we are looking at food, we are looking at the things that the family will use at home, also the extended family. So you find that a person will be able to save in order to use it for their family basic needs. Then also we have got certain people who just waste it on their own pleasure and selfish desires. So when we look at the pleasures and the selfish desires, we are talking about prostitution. You find that others, they'll just waste their money on prostitutes. Others, they'll use their money on beer drinking. Others, they even use it on gambling. When we look at gambling, this is risking their money on the chance of increasing it. I'll give an example. Someone comes and tells you to say, if you give me maybe a 200 kwacha, I'll be able to help you so that you can have maybe 1,000. Then this person is really in need of money, who just come and say, instead of me giving you a 200, let me give you a 500. Then at the end of the day, you gamble it. After doing the gambling, you lose. So you find others, they just waste it on gambling, and others, they waste it on their selfish pleasures. Remember, we are looking at Christian attitudes to money and position. I was just explaining on some of the attitudes that Christians have towards money. So let me just write something for you on the board on what I've just explained. So the first one, the first attitude I've said, save monthly for a rain day. Then the second attitude, they use wisely by investing it, that is in business. Others, they use it on family's basic needs. Then I've talked about wasting. So they waste it on their own pleasures and selfish desires. So when we look at this, we are talking about beer drinking. I'll just give one example. I talked about wasting on prostitutes. Then the last one, I talked about gambling. So you find that they gamble it. So what do I mean when I say they gamble it? This is risking, okay, risking their money on the chance of increasing it. Then we look at positions. What are some of the attitudes that Christians have towards their positions? Remember, we are looking at Christian attitude to money and positions. So we have looked at the first one, which is money. What are some of the attitudes that Christians have? The first one I've said, save monthly for a rainy day. The second one, use it wisely by investing it. The third one, use it on family basic needs. The fourth one, waste it on their own pleasures and selfish desires. So we have people who just think of themselves. Then also we have looked at gambling. They end up doing gambling, that is risking their money on the chance of increasing it. So these are some of the attitudes that Christians have towards money. Then let's look at positions. What are some of the attitudes that Christians have towards position? The first one, we'll look at means of prestige. Means of prestige. Means of prestige. What does the word prestige mean? When we say means of prestige, this is one of the attitudes that Christians have. This is to gain respect. So they use it in order to gain respect in society. Then the second attitude, you look at means of showing off. Means of showing off. So you find some of the Christians, they use their positions to show off to society, to say, I'm the one owning this company, I'm the one owning this house, I'm the one who has got this car. So they use it to just show off to society and the community. Then others, they use it for personal development. Personal development. In order to develop themselves. We have got Christians who use their position to develop themselves. Then the last one, promoting God's work. Others, they use it to promoting God's work. Okay, so what do we mean when we say promoting God's work? You find others, they'll be able to help the church. You remember, in some churches, we have got people who cannot afford. We have got those who are in need. So you find that they will use it to promote God's work, buying for the church, helping the church, maybe building a church. That's how they use their positions. Remember, we are looking at Christian attitude to work and position. Christian attitude to money and position. So the first one, we have looked at money. What are some of the attitudes that we have towards money? We have said save monthly for a rainy day. The second one, use it wisely by investing it in a business. Use it on family basic needs. Waste it on their own pleasures and selfish desires. Then the last one, I've said gambling. So you'd find that there are people who use their money to gamble. So when we look at the word gamble, it means risking their money on the chance of increasing it. Then position, what are some of the attitudes that Christians have towards position? The first one, means of prestige. I've said when you look at the word prestige, it means to gain respect. Then the second one, means of showing off. So we have got Christians who use their position just to show off to society, to say, I'm the one having this, I own this, I own this. Then the third one, personal development. Some of them, they use it in order to develop themselves. Then the last one, promoting God's work. How do they promote God's work? Position and money. Okay, so let's look at biblical teaching. What does the Bible teach us on attitude to wealth and position? So biblical teaching on the use of wealth and positions. Okay. So biblical teaching on attitude to wealth possessions. Okay, so what does the Bible teach Christians on the attitude that we should have towards wealthy and possessions? So the first one, the Bible explained to say we are not supposed to exploit the poor and the need. We need to help those who are in need, and especially those who are in poor. So we are not supposed to exploit them. I'll give an example of a rich man and Lazarus. We are looking at a rich man who was wealthy, and we are looking at Lazarus who was a poor man. But the rich man used to eat fine food, wear clothes which were expensive, while the poor man who was Lazarus would sit down and eat from the food that was falling from the table. But the Bible says we are not supposed to exploit the poor and the need. Then also disrespect of Jewish festivals. Most of the time you find that when a person is rich, has got wealth or position, you find that they don't concentrate on festivals, especially the Jewish festivals. So on the Jewish festivals, I'll give an example of church services. Most of those who are rich, they don't attend church services. You'd find that on Sunday, he's busy doing businesses, busy attending to his or her own businesses. Just in case, maybe like for coronavirus, I'll give an example. During this time, instead of concentrating on the church services, a person will just say, no, I need to make money because looking at the situation where we are in, let me boost my business. So you'd find that most of the people who are rich, they don't concentrate on Jewish festivals, but they concentrate on their wealth. So this is what I mean to say disrespecting of Jewish festivals. Then another attitude that the Bible discourages is use of dishonest weights and scales. You'd find someone who is rich has got a butchery somewhere. When you go there to buy meat, then you compare with someone who is poor. Those who are poor will end up tuning their scales. So when you compare from this butchery to another butchery, you find that the meat that you buy at maybe 100 kwacha, when you compare with the meat that you buy at 200, you find that there's a very big difference. So the Bible is discouraging the use of dishonest weights and the scales. And most of the time you find that rich people, they are the ones who behave in such a way. And also buying people as slaves. We have seen rich people who buy people as slaves, just working for them, and they are not even being paid. They will even say, I bought you, so you need to work for me day and night, just working without resting. So the Bible discourages to say we are not supposed to buy people as slaves in the sake of having wealthy. So we are looking at biblical teaching on attitude to wealth and the positions. Okay, let me write something for you. The first one, I've said exploitation of the poor. Exploitation of the poor and the need. The Bible discourages exploitation. Then disrespect of Jewish festivals. Okay, I've talked about use of dishonest weights and scales. Then the last one, the Bible discourages buying people as slaves. So these are the attitudes that most of people who are wealthy have. So, but the Bible discourages exploitation of the poor and the need, disrespect of Jewish festivals, use of dishonest weights and scales, and also buying people as slaves. Remember, we are looking at Christian attitudes to money and position. So let's look at the second subtopic, which is Jesus' views on wrong attitudes. What are some of Jesus' views on wrong attitude? Jesus' views on wrong attitudes. What did Jesus say on the wrong attitudes? Jesus' views on on wrong attitudes. So what were Jesus' views on wrong attitude? Jesus talked about greedy and covetousness. The Bible talks about greedy. You are not supposed to be greedy, but you are supposed to look at the welfare of others, think of other people, especially those who are in need. Then he also talked about laziness and taking life easy. The Bible discourages laziness. You need to work in order for you to survive. So Jesus discouraged laziness and taking life easy. You need to work hard in order to feed your family. You need to work hard in order for you to develop in life. Then he also talked about enjoying selfish pleasures. Like I earlier explained, to say there are people who spend most of the time using their money on selfish pleasures like beer drinking, prostitution, but the Bible discourages. So Jesus talked about the wrong views on wrong attitude, which is enjoying self-pleasures. For example, on beer drinking, the Bible discourages. You need to use your wealth wisely. Then he also talked about not serving God and money at the same time. You cannot do two things at the same time. You cannot serve two masters at the same time, whereby you are looking at money, you are also looking at God. The Bible says we need to invest our money in the kingdom of God, and everything will be added up to us. So first we need to put God's kingdom first, then the remaining things like money, wealth will follow. So you cannot serve two masters at a time. Then the Bible also discourages to say love of money is the beginning of evils, especially many evils, especially in a person's life. What do I mean when I say love of money is the beginning of many evils in a person's life? You discover that if you love money more than God, you end up stealing. You end up killing a person just for you to be wealthy. You end up doing prostitution just for you to have money. So that's why Jesus was trying to explain, to say you are not supposed to be more in love with money than God. So think of God first, because the love of money is the beginning of evils in a person's life. So you can read in 1 Timothy 6:10. You will find the story where Jesus was trying to explain to his disciples to say love of money is the beginning of evils in a person's life. So let me just write something for you on the board which talks about Jesus' views on wrong attitudes. The first one, greedy and covetousness. Then the second one, laziness and taking life easy. So Jesus was trying to discourage laziness. We need to work hard. Then enjoying selfish pleasures. I'll give an example. E.g., beer drinking, just thinking about yourself. Then also, you cannot serve God and money. So first, you need to put the kingdom of God first, then the remaining ones, money, positions, will follow. Then he also talked about love of money is the beginning of all evils. Love of money is the beginning of many evils in a person's life. So read 1 Timothy 6, the verse of 10. Okay, remember we are looking at Christian attitude to money and position. So we have looked at biblical teaching on attitude to wealth and position. We have said exploitation of the poor and the needy is discouraged. then disrespect of Jewish festivals, use of dishonest weights and scales, and buying people as slaves. Then I'm from explaining on Jesus' views on wrong attitude. Jesus talked about greedy and covetousness, laziness, and taking life easy. It is discouraged. Then also enjoying selfish pleasures like drinking beer. And he said you cannot serve God and money at the same time. And love of money is the beginning of many evils in a person's life. So when you read in 1 Timothy 6-10, you find where Jesus was trying to teach his disciples on the wrong attitudes that we are not supposed to follow. Okay, then let's look at the last one, which is biblical teaching on the use of wealth. How are we supposed to use our wealthy? How are we supposed to use our wealthy according to Jesus Christ? How are we supposed to use our wealthy? Okay. Biblical teaching on the use of wealth. Okay, so we look at biblical teaching on the use of wealth. The Bible says riches come from God and should be considered as belonging to God. Because for us to be rich, most of the time you will pray to God to say, God, can I have a financial breakthrough? And when God gives you, we need to use it wisely. So the Bible teaches that riches come from God and should be considered as belonging to God. Then it also teaches us to say wealth should be used to help the poor. So if you become rich, you have got wealth, you need to help those who are in need. As I earlier explained on the rich man and Lazarus, you find that the rich man did not consider the poor man. But the Bible is saying wealth should be used to help the poor. So when you read in Mark 10:21-27, you find a story where it is talking about wealth, how we are supposed to use our wealth to help the poor. Then the last one, wealth must be used to do good and share with others. So if you are rich, you need to share your wealth with other people, especially those who are in need. So when you read in 1 Timothy 6:17-19, you find where it explains to say everything that we have, the riches that we have, we need to help those who are in need. So we are looking at biblical teaching on the use of wealth. So the first one, I've said riches come from God and should be considered as belonging to Him. Then wealth should be used to help the poor. So you read in Mark 10:21-27. Then the last one, wealth must be used to do good and should and shared with others. So here you read 1 Timothy 6:17-19. Okay, remember we are looking at Christian attitude to money and position. Christian attitude to money and position. I was just explaining on biblical teaching on the use of wealth. What does the Bible teach on the use of wealth? The Bible says riches come from God and should be considered as belonging to God. So wealthy should be used to help the poor. When you read in Mark 10:26 to 27, you find where it explains to say wealthy should be used to help the poor. Then the last one, wealthy must be used to do good and share with others. Who are these others? The poor, those who are in need. So when you read in 1 Timothy 6:17 to 19, you find the story where it is teaching us to say wealthy must be used to do good and share with others. So from what I've just explained, the Bible is simply telling us that when we have got wealthy or we become rich or the positions that we have, we shouldn't neglect those who are in need. We are supposed to help those who are in need, especially those who are poor, and also helping the church, because these riches and the wealth that we have does not belong to us, but belongs to God. Whatever that we ask from God, when God blesses us, we should also bless others. So today's lesson, we are looking at Christian attitude to money and position. I have explained the attitude that we have towards money, towards positions, and have also explained biblical teaching on attitude to wealth and position, Jesus' views on wrong attitude, and also biblical teaching on the use of wealthy. So we've come to the end of our lesson. Remember, this was the new topic which I've just introduced in grade 12, and we are still looking at the same topic. So next time when we meet, we'll just continue with the same topic. Stay blessed. Let's meet next time. Don't forget to write the notes, and don't forget to go through the notes so that when we meet next time, you won't be disturbed. Goodbye and stay blessed.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock.
Look at our geographic expression.